أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. We'll continue with our session today. This would be our session today on a very important topic, the topic of marriage, inshallah. We'll talk about the marriage of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam to two ladies. So as we talked about in the previous session that Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam wife Khadija died on the 10th year of Dawah. She was a beloved wife for Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam lived a very happy life with her, and for a long time, for about when Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam married Khadija, he was 25 years of old, and when Khadija passed away, he was 50 years old, right? So he has a good years with Khadija, and it's being said that the marriage was very successful. Khadija and Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam is being said that never even argued or fight among them with each other. So after the death of Khadija radiallahu anha, Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, in the year of sorrow, the 10th year of Dawa, as we said, right, that he was sad, and Khadija's sister Hala have was she has noticed, and she was worried about him. So she suggested Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam to get married. So Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam asked Hala, I mean, who should I get married? And she suggested, maybe you can marry a virgin woman, or you can marry a non-virgin. So, and then she suggested the name of Sauda. Now, who was Sauda? Sauda, she was a poor lady. She accepted, she belongs to a big tribe, but when she accepted Islam, her tribe has kind of left her, right? And she was married to this person who was Muslim, who also, I mean, her husband also became Muslim, and they migrated to Abyssinia as well. But then her husband passed away. He died, and she has number of kids. She has about 5 or 6 or maybe more kids, and she was about 55 years old at that time when her husband passed away. So, and she was also, because of all that, she was poor as well, because she migrated, with her husband. She has, they left all their wealth and all that. So um, she was definitely looking for someone to support. Okay, and Hala, the sister of Khadija, realized that and knew that. So she suggested, maybe you should marry Sauda. So Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, go ahead and send the proposal. Sauda, when she got the proposal, she was very happy, and she married Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Now, at this point of time, Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam was, as we said, about 51, 52, 53, 50, 51, 52 years old, and Sauda was about 55 years old. And Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam uh, took care of her children, and she took care of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam children through Khatija radiallahu anha, right? So this was her first marriage or second marriage after Khatija. Then Allah has willed or decreed another woman in the life of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam saw a dream, or actually in one narration's dream, in other narrations, just angel Jibril came to him, and he said to Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, marry Aisha, the daughter of your best friend Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu, because she has been decreed for you. She's your wife. She's been decreed as wife for you. So Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam sent the proposal to Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu. Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu was very happy to know that Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam is going to marry Aisha. Now Aisha was already been engaged, according to some narration, to another person, before Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu, married her to the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So there was a not engaged or engagement proposal has already came to Aisha radiallahu anha. But when Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam is now saying to marry Aisha, Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu was so happy that he decided to marry Aisha to Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Now, the marriage happened. Okay, the as the custom was there at that time, Aisha was very young. Okay, now how young she was when this marriage happened is a question, because there are different of opinions on her age. Different scholars says different age of Aisha when she got married. The earliest age that the people said that she got married was, or when the marriage was consummated, was when she was 9 years old. But that's not the only age that's being mentioned by the scholars. Other scholars says no, her age was 13 when she got married. Some says her age was 18 when she got married, and some says even age later than 18. So, and each of them have their own evidences they bring forward to tell what her age was when she married to Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. Among the common opinion is that her age was 9 when the marriage was consummated with Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, and that's the earliest age that's being mentioned. Now, this age in the present world, the age of Aisha, the marriage of Aisha with Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, is being criticized a lot by the Islamophobes, by the haters of Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, by the haters of Muslims. Now the question is, what is the criticism they have? Is the criticism is that the Aisha radiallahu anhu age has a huge difference with the age of Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam? I mean, the age difference or age gap between them is a problem. The answer to it, no, it's not that. Because we knew in the present world, even in the present world, right? The people marry, some women marry at the age of 25 to someone who is about 80 years old. We all know the examples. We all know people doing that, and we see in for example, in the film industry, Hollywood, people do that. So it's not the age difference that is in the criticism. What is in the criticism is the actual age of Aisha being 9. Okay, that is what's being criticized a lot by the present world. Now, we in today's session is going to analyze that. Okay, we're going to analyze what is the criticism and is the criticism justified. So let's start from the first question to analyze this. The first question is, what is the right age of marriage for a man or a woman? What is the right age? And who defined that age? And how the age is defined? That is the question. Now, if we look at the history, we see the age of, now since we're talking about the subject here is the women, so we'll talk about the women. The age of a woman marrying a man, the earliest age varies in the past, varies a lot. I mean, it varies in present time, it varies from country to country. Not only country to country, the age of marriage actually varies, the earliest age of marriage actually varies in America between different states. Different states have a different age of marriage. Okay. If you look at in the US, you will find that some states have the earliest age of a woman or a girl to marry is 13 with parental consent. If the parental consent is there, then the girl can marry at as early as 13 or 14. I think it was 13 maybe a few years ago, now maybe it's 14. Like for example, I think North Carolina or South Carolina or some other places, the age is around 13 or 14 where the girl can marry with parental consent. Here, the marriage of Aisha radiallahu anhu, remember, it was the parental consent. Her father was perfectly fine with the age. Our society although has come up with this magic number of 18 to be the appropriate age, and given the person is 18 years old, then he or she doesn't require a parental consent, right? But even that age, and we consider, and it's general, we all consider 18 age in today's world to be the appropriate age, appropriate earliest age that a girl should marry, right? Based on the culture and based on the society we live in. But it, as we know, culture changes. So, and how do we came up with this 18 number? We It's not based on the science, right? I mean, if you look at the science, what would be the age of a man or a woman from the science perspective to get married? The answer would be the age of puberty, when they are ready to reproduce. When they are ready to reproduce, they are ready to, they can marry, right? So puberty is should be the age from the science perspective. From the perspective of science, puberty should be the age of getting married. But the puberty varies from person to person, and it is dependent upon number of factors. For example, environment. Environment is one of the factors that causes puberty to come early or late. And we know that puberty comes early in the warm, in the places where there is a warm climate. And we know in Mecca at the time of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, even now in Saudi Arabia, the puberty comes early. So girls come reach the age of puberty earlier than they reach in other part of the world where it's a colder climate. And also we should note that in Islam, the adulthood is based on the puberty. So in Islam, the adulthood is defined by the age of puberty. So the Islam follows the science the way the science look at. And not only Islam, Judaism, the same thing. Even Judaism, the adulthood is based on the puberty. Now, if you look at the culture, what this culture says. So our present culture says 1800, at 18 years old, okay, accepted. But 1400, we're talking about the marriage of Aisha with Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam at the 1400 or more than 1400 years ago, right? 1400 years ago. 1400 years ago, it was a common practice in pretty much all of the world to marry a girl at the early age. How do we know that? We know that from various stories. We know, for example, in the story of Shakespeare of Romeo and Juliet. Romeo and Juliet were 14, 15, or 13, 14 years old. Even a century ago, in various parts of the world, in Europe and Asia, and even US as well, the marriage was happening as early as 10. Yes, we now in present world says 18 years old is an appropriate age, or the earliest age for a man or a women to get married. But just because we are a dominant culture now doesn't mean that we can criticize the culture that exists 1400 years ago, right? In 1400 years ago, this was not a problem. And why are we saying it's not a problem? Because if we look at the marriage of Aisha with Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, as we said, Aisha was already engaged or getting engaged to someone else, right? So it's not just Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, somebody else also was reaching out for the marriage with Aisha. No one objected the marriage of Aisha with Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. No one. Even the worst of the enemies of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, who was looking for any kind of opportunity to attack Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, did not attack Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, did not criticize Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam to his marriage to Aisha radiallahu anhu when he married Aisha, right? And marriage was the consent with Aisha's father. Her father agreed to the marriage. So father must have agreed, it must be a known culture or accepted practice in that culture to marry the girl early. Was a marriage successful? Sure, absolutely. The marriage of Aisha with Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam was very successful. Aisha radiallahu anha never complained about her marriage to Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Even after the death of Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, Aisha proudly mentioned about her marriage. It was a perfect marriage based on what we learn from the various narrations from Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam and from the Aisha radiallahu anha and from the companions. And of course, it was also divine inspired, as we said. Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, marriage was made in the heavens. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has sent the divine revelation or inspiration to him to marry Aisha radiallahu anhu. People say, well, it may be because of the physical desire of Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. Well, no, it is not. Of course not. He, for 54 years, when he was 53, 54 years old, when he married Aisha radiallahu anha, right? Till then, he only had one wife. I mean, he married Sauda a few months apart with Aisha radiallahu anha. But before Sauda, he only had one wife, right? And he spent the wife with Khadija. And when he married Khadija, Khadija was also, as we mentioned in the marriage of Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam with Khadija, Khadija was very much older to Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam when Prophet married Khadija, right? And she was also widowed 2 times before she married to Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. So the entire youth of Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam was spent with this one woman, Khadija, who was divorced or widowed twice before she married Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, and who is much older than Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. And then he married Sauda, who's already very old, 55 years age, right? And then he's marrying Aisha radiallahu anha, right? So it can't be because he physically was, desired to marry young women. What is the wisdom? So we said Allah divinely inspired him, but there has to be a wisdom behind it. What's the wisdom behind her early marriage? Her marriage to Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam was a great blessing to the Muslims or to the Ummah of Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. Why? Because Aisha radiallahu anha, she lived a long life. She died at the age of 65. So she lived much after the death of Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. And she was the scholar of her time. She was the first women scholar in Islam, if you look at that way. She lived a long life and she narrated about 2,000 ahadith. She was a teacher. She was a leader of Ummah at that time. People used to come to ask the question of law, the question of history to her. So that's how she was known, right? She was passing the knowledge that she learned from Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. So let's conclude this analysis. The conclusion is the age of marriage depends upon culture and to culture. In our present culture, the age is considered to be 18 as the appropriate age, or in other states, it is considered as 13 or 14 as the earliest age of marriage. But in today's society, we do want girl to get educated, to get more mature before marriage, to have a career and so on. And that's why, 18 is considered to be the appropriate age, right? But just because we now think that we are a dominant culture does not give us a right, does not mean that we have an audacity to criticize a culture which exists 1400 years ago. Because this age that we have, 18 today, maybe in future, this age may be either not appropriate, maybe it is too less, or maybe it is too old, right, for an early age to get married. Because we don't know what the culture would be in future. The age of marriage varies from culture to culture, as we said. So but we should remember this. We're saying all that, right? I live in America, we live in the present world. So even though we say there is no issue of Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam marrying Aisha at the early age, Aisha, if we go with the opinion that Aisha age was 9, we say there is no issue because there was a culture there. Okay, and we analyze it from the science perspective as well, from the other perspective as well, right? But we should remember that if a law of a land says that your age is this, your age is, for example, 18, or age is 14 before that you can only marry, before that you can't marry, then we are obliged to follow the rule of land. We are obliged to follow the law of land. So this was about the marriage of Aisha with Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Now we will inshallah go into the 11th year of Dawa. So 11th year of Dawa we'll be talking about very quickly. Um, Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, as we know, has lost the protection of Abu Talib, right? He went out to Taif, and we talked about that, how he was treated badly there. And on returning back, Mutam ibn Adi, he gave him the protection. But Mutam ibn Adi was becoming, and he's a non-Muslim, right? He's a pagan worshipper, but he gave the protection to him, and he was one of the few, people in Mecca who were, that good or generous to Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. But Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam knew that, after Mutam ibn Adi, and he's an old man, when he will pass away, there will be no one who will give him the protection, and his life would be in extreme, extreme danger, right? His life is already in danger, but after Mutam ibn Adi, it will be completely, it will be very difficult. So he was seeking out for the political asylum, or to other places in and around nearby tribes, right? He was looking for a large tribe to migrate. So during the Hajj season, he approached number of large tribes. He was giving the call of Islam to them, the dawah or the of Islam to them, and asking, trying to see if they can, accept Islam, and they can accept him in their tribe, right? But no one was listening to him. He came across a group of 6 people from Yathrib, and he didn't know who these 6 people is. He asked those 6 people, "Who are you?" And they told him they are from Yathrib. Now imagine, at this point of time, there's 6 small number of people, 6 people he met, right? He never thought that these 6 people will change his life, so he gave them the call of Islam, right? He gave them the call of Islam. He did what he is supposed to do as a messenger. So he did his a good deed, telling them about Islam, telling them about what Islam is. He did a small good deed there. And this small good deed, he has no idea will cause what impact. Okay. So these 6 people, when they heard Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, through him they learn about Islam, they accepted Islam. They accepted Islam, and when they went back after Hajj to Medina, or Yathrib at that time, the Medina's old name was Yathrib. When they went back to Yathrib, they started telling about Islam to the other people. Now, who lives in Yathrib? In Yathrib, there are different groups of people live. There were Arabs who lived there, and the Arabs were divided into 2 different groups, 2 large tribes, Aus and Khazraj. And between Aus and Khazraj, each large tribe has sub-tribes underneath that, right? And Aus and Khazraj, these are Arabs and these are pagan worshippers, right, till now. These are Aus and Khazraj were in constant fight with each other. They have fought many battles. Over hundreds of years, they were fighting with each other. And they had a very recently, a 10-year civil war in which many people from Aus and Khazraj has killed or died. Okay. So, and who else lived there was Jews. There are 3 large tribe of Jews who live in Yathrib. These Jews' large tribe was the tribe of Banu Qainuqa, Banu Nadir, and Banu Qurayda. And Jews, why Jews were living there in Yathrib? Jews were living in Yathrib because Jews were waiting for a prophet to come. Jews were waiting for a prophet to come there. Their scriptures have mentioned about a coming of a prophet, and they were waiting for their prophet to come in that location because they have hints that the prophet will come in this location. And who is this prophet? This prophet, by the way, is Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, whom they were waiting for. The only thing is they thought that this prophet is going to come from from them, or from their from the Jew tribe. Okay, that's what they were expecting. Here, prophet comes from not from their progeny. Prophet still came from the progeny of Abraham, but not through Ishaq, but through Ismail, right? So they were waiting there for a prophet to come, and so Arabs has heard about prophets, about books, about the oneness of Allah from Jews, and Arabs, these Aus and Khazraj, always felt inferior to Jews. They always considered Jews to be superior than them. And Jews also used to make sure that they were communicating this message to the Arabs that we are superior, we have prophets, we have books. But the problem is, Aus and Khazraj cannot convert into Judaism, because in Judaism there was no concept of conversion, right? So they can't convert into into Jew. So they were like, but they have heard about the books, they have heard about the prophets, they heard about the oneness of Allah, and here they come with someone who is preaching the oneness of Allah, who is calling himself prophet, who's calling him this, saying, or telling them he's getting a divine inspiration or divine revelations. So they right away got that idea. They right away hit them, and they said, okay, yeah, this must be a prophet that Jews are waiting for. So when the 6 people went to Yathrib, those who accepted Islam in Makkah, they gave dawah to others. There's another 6 people or more people accepted Islam. And we will talk about what happened after that in our next session. Before I end, I request all of you to try your best to support Guidance College. Guidance College is offering number of classes on number of topics, number of subjects. Guidance College is offering the number of Islamic courses. So support them, join them, learn the divine knowledge. If you cannot be a student, you can support a student by giving the scholarships to the students. So this is a very good deed that you should do, we all should do, because we never know this good deed can create how big impact later on. Jazakallahu khair. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu.